This week we're going to do a continuation of last week's spiral rose tangle that I have created a new tangle with that I'm calling cabbage rose, and it's right here. So here you can obviously see the tangle spiral rose, how it begins, right? But instead of using just flux leaves, we're going to morph our leaves into something a little more realistically like a peony leaf or a rose leaf. So, and then we're going to continue to build around that to make this rose, not really botanical, but I did go ahead and color shade it on this tile. I wanted to try it out on a black background with the white pen because we're going to do gray today with the white pen. So you can very easily see the shading. This is my sketchbook idea of rosary beads, mala beads, whatever you want them to be, but there are 10 surrounding the large rosette, and I'm thinking, well, as you're drawing these, or as I was drawing these, I had some nice, quiet, meditative, de-stress time. So I hope for you to do that as well. Okay, let's get on with the project. I'm going to be using a gray Zentangle. A gray tile from Zentangle. I laid out my last gray Zentangle, I thought, and I can't find it at all anymore. But we'll make this work on the gray. Really want to see what the gray does with white jelly roll. This one is an 05. You can probably use an 08. I have on hand here a white colored pencil, but I have a feeling the charcoal white from Generals will work better. We'll see when we get that far. I also have, for shading some of the grays, I have a 2B pencil and a tortillon for that, but I also have, for my Generals white charcoal, I have a designated white tortillon. And once again, we're going to start with a circle. I'm going to use my handy dandy iris compass that my daughter got for me for Christmas one year that I absolutely so love and think of her every time I use it. Hi there, Christy. I know you're watching this. Okay, this next part is going to be a string, and I'm going to go ahead and just pencil that in. And we're going to do just like we did last time with spiral rose. We're going to find the center, and we're just going to spiral it around. This one, I'm going to go a little closer. See, that's why you need to do this in pencil first. So I do want to have at least 3 little layers of spiral. Okay, so we're going to start out and we're going to do our spiral this time just in pencil because we're just going to use those pencil flux leaves as a guideline for our other leaves. So I'm going to do this big as I can. I hope you've enjoyed practicing this tangle. It is very calming. See, I've gotten so good at it now that I don't even have to turn my tile anymore, which is easier on you guys, so I don't be moving my tile so much. This is like my version of Saturday, where I added these extra blossom leaves. Let's see. It's like this one, right, that I added with my Saturday tangle. You can go back and look at that one. All right, so now we can put that aside and get out our white pen. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to really, really lift this because I don't want it to show through. So this is my 05 jelly roll, and I'm just going to follow that leaf pattern, but I'm going to make it a little jagged. Okay, this is going to be really, really hard for you to see. So let's do this in gray. You know, you just have to switch things up when they don't work quite the way you expect them to. So I want you to see this rather than me making exactly what I want. So I'm going to go from the bottom and I'm just going to follow that flux shape, but make it more like an oak leaf or very much like Samson. If you've ever done Samson tutorials with me, you could, if you feel more comfortable, you could start at the top. I think it's probably easiest for you to go from the top. And they don't have to be the same. In fact, they shouldn't be the same. Because if you look at any peony petal or rose petal that has this kind of wavy outline, they're never the exact same. You can round it, you can make it more pointed up here. Those are the little variations that you can play with. If you take a look and compare this built up leaf or built up blossom with this, you'll see that this blossom has quite a bit more wiggly line out contour. This one's more smooth, more flat. So we want to make this look most like a rose. So that's why I want to give it a little character. I'm going to put a little dot up here. I do want it to be raised up a little bit, and I'm going to make them a little bit pointy. This would be like the center. And again, they don't have to be exactly the same. They really shouldn't be. I'm using a gray Sakura pen. This is a 005, so that it'll be nice and delicate when we add the light, because I wanted it to actually not show. That's why I wanted to do it in white, but this will be okay. Now we're going to do another layer of that, finding the center here. Same thing. And that's already pretty enough, but I'm going to add one more layer to make it really look like it's opening up. And this one is going to be now a lot flatter. One, two, three. Actually, I did two more rows. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows on this rose. So we've got the first two. Now we're going to go and make our leaf, our petal, a little bit more flat. This is what I mean. We're going to go like this and just make it a kind of more of a rounded, flat shape. Still in that same kind of arc. And we're going to do one more, and this time we're going to flatten it out even more. This time we're going to actually go pretty much flat in that. We're not going to make that arc up. We're going to make it a little bit more just flatter, like that. And this makes for really quite a nice full rose, very much like a cabbage rose. Okay, so there is the pattern, cabbage rose. Now comes the important part. to make it really look like a rose, we're going to shade it like that. It's of course not botanically correct, but it is a little bit more realistic than our stylized spiral rose. So basically we're going to, instead of filling this in dark like we did before, we're just going to really give it a lot of shading down there. Since this is gray, if it were a white tile, you could do the black, but I want this to be kind of more subtle. And then just like we did with the flux petals in our spiral rose shading, I'm going to put a little bit of graphite in the center at the base of each of the petals. It's already looking much nicer. And let's go ahead and shade all of this before I show you what I want to do with the white. So I'm going to continue on, making it nice and dark down here on the outside so that this spiraled center is set up, or looks like it's just really connected to these petals. Now, if you look at this, where there's a dip down, where there's that U shape and it's going down, go ahead and add a little bit of graphite, because that looks like, all the way from the center, that makes the leaves look like they're rippling, right? Like they're undulating. Just what's left on your tortillon is going to be plenty. So blend down here, find that dip. A little bit dip there, just so it looks like it's kind of going up and down. I'm back. Here's my cabbage rose, all shaded the way I want it to be. And now we're going to do what hopefully is going to be the wow factor. I am creating on the fly for you. But I'm going to start out with my colored pencil. Like I said, I had chosen both to take my General's white charcoal, white colored pencil. This is a Prismacolor, or a Faber-Castell actually. And then here is my designated white tortillon, which I wouldn't need if I used my colored pencil. But I might have more control and subtleness with my colored pencil. And it's not showing up very much at all. So I think I'm going to go with the General's white charcoal. Basically, I want this to be a white rose. So I am outlining, staying away from it for the most part, but I'm going to blend into that. To really make these transitions smooth. So always want some up here on the top of each petal. And then in that area. Yeah, this General's white charcoal takes so well on this gray paper from Zentangle, which I've said I know 1,000 times, but it's my favorite paper from them. Pastel paper would work nicely. So I hope you can really see that white happening. You can always add another layer if you want it to be really darker. Your white's more brilliant. When you're finished with this, I would definitely suggest spraying it with a workable fixative, just so that the white and graphite don't smear together too much. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty good, even under the camera. So I'm just gonna blend that. I don't know if you noticed, but when I came back, I said I was finished with the shading. I also did a little bit, just a little bit of line weighting with my gray Sakura pen, especially where these petals are overlapping, just so they really come to the foreground. You can really see the difference between this center and the petals that are not shaded yet or highlighted with the white. So just like with my colored pencil, I always suggest that you keep your tip. This one just broke. It's pretty dull. But in order to get into the tooth of your paper, you really want to try to keep your tip sharp. I know you're sick of hearing me say that, but I know you'll notice the difference. Working with your tools is an art, and you are only as good as your tools. I'm going to go ahead and just load all of the petals, and then I'll go back and blend. You might not see it on camera what I'm doing, but definitely I need to blend because I can see where the tooth of the paper is showing through. And once you blend that down, that gets covered up. I am looking for my pen again because I see a spot where I'm losing the edge. So I'm going to go back in there with my marker. Here too. Can even go back in here and get really dark under the undercut of the petal. And in the center, it's like with layering color, you can layer graphite. You really want this center to be rich and deep. The further out you go, and as the petals widen up, it would be lighter out there. So this is getting a little technical, but you see how it really does work to give you that illusion. There is my white rose. I'm going to go myself and add a few more some leaves around here, and I'll show you the final product. But that's how you would shade and highlight the rose. If you had white paper, you wouldn't even need to do that last step with the white General's charcoal. So okay, this is the final. I did add leaves. I didn't like the placement of them, so I just kept going and going and going, and I filled out the entire background, but I didn't shade them because I wanted the rose to stand out and be the focal point. I know you are all wondering, well, how did I do this rose here? And I have filmed a little bit about how I shaded it with my colored pencil. It's basically the same way, but with colored pencils. So I will play that a little for you. I'm not going to make any commentary. I think a picture speaks 1,000 words. So I hope that will help you if you feel like you want to try working on black. that's it for today. Thanks for joining me. Do share your works with me on my Botangle Alumni Student Facebook page and all over Zentangle, please. Help me grow my channel by posting what you do and mentioning my YouTube tutorials so that I can keep at it. Thanks again. See you next time.